ceremony on a hot, sunny Saturday afternoon. And I, along with Ian and Les Roy, will be bringing to you coverage of the inauguration ceremony of the new St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party government. At present, my name is Via Galloway, and I'll be joined by Lesroy Williams, and Ian, of course, is here next to me. Good afternoon to you, Ian.
Well, good afternoon, Via, and good afternoon to everyone within the sound of my voice, whether it be they're listening via radio, whether it be television, and of course social media that is so prolific today. Well, Via, it is an interesting time today, and as Via would have mentioned, I'm Ian Richards here of the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service. Via, it certainly is a pleasure to be here with you today at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium for this auspicious occasion. Via, as I looked back on this occasion, I saw that Warner Park, of course, has been the home of so many memorable and indeed historic occasions here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, think of September 1983. Of course, that was when we celebrated independence for the first time. The flag was raised, signaling the birth of St. Kitts and Nevis. You look at August 2000, that was when St. Kitts and Nevis hosted CARIFESTA, making history, the smallest country, of course, to have done so at that time, and still is because, of course, we are the smallest independent country within the Caribbean community. And then again, we think of September 16, just last year, the Caribbean Premier League finals, the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots versus the St. Lucia Kings. Dominic Drakes smashed the ball into the boundary, making history, making it the first time that the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots were able to win the tournament in its 9th-year history. So absolutely, here we are again at Warner Park for another historic occasion, the swearing in of the fourth Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis and his cabinet. We're looking forward to it.
And let me welcome listeners to ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation as well, those in the diaspora, just to give you a rundown of what is expected this afternoon. We should be having the arrival, a number of persons are already here. The stands are getting filled, and of course, the popular color at this time is red, so most of the stands are filled with persons dressed in their red outfit befitting of the occasion. And of course, His Lordship Justice Trevor Ward QC, the resident puisne judge, he should be arriving anytime now, followed by the ministers designate. The Prime Minister is expected to arrive just about 10 minutes before 4 o'clock, and the Governor General about 5 minutes before 4. The welcome remarks will be given by Mrs. Adelcia Connor-Falance, the invocation by the Venerable Isaiah Philip, Archdeacon Central, Archdeaconry St. Kitts and Nevis, and then at around 4:10, we should be having the swearing in of the cabinet. There will be an address by the Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence M. Drew. We'll be having a choral rendition as well, and at around 5:40, it's the benediction. So lots in store for viewers and listeners to our broadcast here this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Lesroy. What are your thoughts about the crowd at this time? It's picking up, of course.
Well, the crowd is picking up, and I can tell you that it's a sea of red that is here at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. And of course, we expect a very solemn, it's a solemn occasion and befitting what is happening, the swearing in of the cabinet of the newly elected Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Terence Drew. Of course, these occasions are important occasions in the life of any country because the government plays a very critical role in the development of any country. Of course, the sustainable development, human development, and economic development. And so that is why it is such an important occasion, the swearing in of a government for the next 5 years. We are in a democracy, and in a democracy, we choose our government every 5 years, sometimes less than 5 years. In fact, the last election was in 2020, and here we are again swearing in a new government. There's nothing abnormal about it. In a democracy, a government is expected to change from time to time. If the government does not change, of course, it raises a lot of questions. We are if we are in a dictatorship or a totalitarian state. So it is quite normal, and it reflects, of course, a very vibrant democracy here in St. Kitts and Nevis, to have change of government and the smooth transition between governments. That is extremely important.
Right now, we are seeing the arrival of a number of persons. We're already seeing the arrival of the Commissioner of Police, Hilroy Brandy, the Commissioner of the Prisons, Mr. Terrence James, a number of other persons who gave their support to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party during the election campaign leading up to the election, and they are now here seated and waiting on what is expected to be a big ceremony. It's going to be the swearing in of the ministers of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party government. Early last week, last Saturday to be exact, we saw the swearing in of Prime Minister Terrence Drew at Government House. And just to give you a background of what led to what we are seeing here today, the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, led by Dr. Terrence Drew, convincingly won the federal general elections in St. Kitts and Nevis. That was held on August 5th by taking 6 of the 11 seats that were contested. And of course, the elections were observed by the Organization of American States, CARICOM, and local NGO coalition. Ian, what I've realized as well, and Leslie, a number of international persons, including prime ministers and different organizations, they have already sent in their congratulatory messages to the new prime minister. I don't know if you have any of those messages. I was able to get a few of those messages as well. And throughout the coverage this afternoon, we'll be bringing to you some of those messages, of course, messages from Jamaica, we had from Barbados and other Caribbean islands and further afield as well.
Right, well, let me start it off a bit by noting France from the onset. A message was conveyed from the government of France through its embassy to the Eastern Caribbean states, Barbados, and the OACS. That, of course, is based in St. Lucia, and it was sent by the Charge d'Affaires, Mr. Mark Mathieu. He said, quote, "Please accept my sincerest congratulations on the success in the recent election, accompanied by my best wishes as you take up responsibilities and challenges of your high office as Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis." Now, the Charge d'Affaires noted that there was continued friendship between St. Kitts and Nevis, and that he looks forward on building on that. He also mentioned that there are a number of crucial challenges facing the world, of course, the war in Ukraine, of course, the COVID-19. It's still here.
Yes,
the pandemic is still raging. I mean, St. Kitts and Nevis has been spared, thanks to the Lord, a bit from some of the ravages as of late, but it's still very active in many countries. And so these are some of the issues that the Charge d'Affaires said that the French government was willing to, excited to work on with the new Prime Minister and his cabinet.
And we've just seen the arrival of His Lordship Justice Trevor Ward QC, the resident puisne judge. He's expected to administer the oaths to the new ministers.
Yes, and I just want to recognize some of the stations that are carrying this swearing-in ceremony live. There is CBN Radio, Caribbean Superstation, 90.9 FM, all of the Virgin Islands. Then you have CBN TV, channel 101 on Flow TV, and channel 291 on CCT network in the British Virgin Islands. You have the RCP radio and TV online, St. Kitts and Nevis Diaspora, 2020 Vision Radio, 102.1 FM, and plus online, Nevis and the Diaspora, TDN Radio Network in the USA, and Crimson Multimedia Channel 82 in Bermuda. Of course, whenever a government is sworn in, the head of government, of course, receives many congratulatory messages from friendly countries, and especially countries that have established diplomatic relations with St. Kitts and Nevis. Of course, it is very important, any government, to establish these relationships, that we are working together for the common good, for a common cause. Some of the relationships, of course, within the region would include that of CARICOM, the CARICOM community, and of course the OECS, and other important institutions like the University of the West Indies. And of course, the Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, has received congratulatory messages from the Secretary General of CARICOM. He has received, of course, from the Director General of the OECS, Didacus Jules, the Secretary General of CARICOM, who basically is Carla N. Barnett, Dr. Carla N. Barnett, Didacus Jules of the OECS. There are a lot of regional institutions, the Caribbean Development Bank, the University of the West Indies, which sent congratulatory message, and Dr. Francis O'Severin, who is Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the UWI Open Campus.
And of course, close to home, we had the President of the Republic of China, Taiwan, Her Excellency Dr. Tsai Ing-wen. On Saturday, August 6th, she sent a message of congratulations to the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, who was sworn in as the 4th Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it read, on behalf of the people and government of the Republic of China, Taiwan, I extend my heartfelt congratulations on your election as Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis. I wish you every success in your new role, and confident that St. Christopher and Nevis will thrive under his capable leadership. The congratulatory letter was hand-delivered to Prime Minister Drew by the resident ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan, His Excellency Michael Lin, at Government House. And that was after Dr. Drew was sworn in as the Federation's 4th Prime Minister.
Well, it's interesting that you speak about Taiwan here. And something that struck out to me, I've never heard in congratulatory messages that from one country that there is a simultaneous message from the president, the vice president, and the first lady of the president. That was very interesting. The first time I've seen that, and that was done from Nicaragua. The president there is His Excellency Daniel Ortega Saavedra, and the first lady, and the vice president is His Excellency Rosario Murillo. And so it said that, you know, they are looking forward to working with the prime minister and extended best wishes for peace, prosperity, and good living. And they also said they expressed their unwavering commitment to continue strengthening the fraternal bonds of solidarity and cooperation that unite our people, that is the people of Nicaragua and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and also the governments there as well.
In the background, you can hear the music of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force Band. Prelude of music. We should be expecting the minister designates to arrive at any moment now, and they'll be followed by the prime minister and then the governor general. The stands are filling up quite nicely on both the western and on the eastern end as well. And the main stand here at Warner Park is filled. Uh, we see a number of dignitaries already starting to pick up their position, pick up their seats in front of us here at Warner Park. And just to give you a brief biography of the new Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, the fourth Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. He hails from St. Peter's in St. Kitts, and he completed his medical school studies at the University of Villa Clara in Cuba from 1998 to 2005, where he graduated with first-class honors. And after successfully completing his studies in Cuba, Dr. Drew then journeyed to Jamaica, where he took up the position of medical intern, but after careful consideration, he gave up this position and returned to St. Kitts to work in the Ministry of Health as a general practitioner. He worked in many areas with doctors in several specialist fields who served as mentors and guides in his new career. At the Jane France Hospital, he worked on the medical ward with Dr. Bishara Saheli, on the surgical ward with Dr. Desmond Fosberry, pediatrics with Dr. Ian Jacobs, the late Dr. Ian Jacobs, and A&E with Dr. Retna Walwin, who all contributed to his success in some way. And later, Dr. Drew, who is now the Prime Minister, he moved on to private practice, where Dr. Desmond Fosberry was very instrumental as he turned over his office to Dr. Drew, and to whom Dr. Drew has said he would always be grateful.
We just had the arrival of the Ambassador of Cuba to St. Kitts and Nevis, His Excellency David Rivero Perez and his wife. They have arrived. Of course, Cuba has played an important role in our development here in St. Kitts and Nevis, especially the development of human resource. A lot of our doctors have been trained in Cuba, and other persons have been trained in other fields, such as engineering and nursing. The Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, of course, was one of those beneficiaries of scholarship, which afforded him to study in the Republic of Cuba. Of course, we have an embassy in Cuba, which is headed by Her Excellency Verna Morris Mills, and that shows the importance of the relationship that we have with the Republic of Cuba, which has been a great friend over many years. And of course, St. Kitts has defended Cuba against some of the things that have helped to thwart its growth, like the embargo, the US embargo on Cuba, and so on. We have stood up and showed our solidarity with Cuba.
And it should be noted that this time that we, of course, here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and extend deep sympathies to the persons in the Republic of Cuba who would have lost their lives given the recent tanker fire that they had there. It's very tragic, very unfortunate, but we know that the people of Cuba are resilient people, and ensure that they will be able to rise like from the ashes, much like the phoenix, and be able to get back on a growth path. But this might be an interesting time just to mention some remarks that the president of Cuba would have sent to Prime Minister Drew. The president of Cuba is His Excellency Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez, and he wrote, "I extend my most sincere congratulations in the name of the people and government of Cuba on your election of the position of Prime Minister. I take this opportunity to convey the will to continue to strengthen the historic bonds of brotherhood and cooperation between St. Christopher and Nevis and Cuba. Receive the testimony of my highest consideration and esteem." Again, another head of state being very open and saying that they wish to build the fraternal bonds between the governments and the people there.
Yes, Ian, we continue to see a number of local and foreign dignitaries arriving on the red carpet. as we await the arrival of the ministers designate who will be given their portfolios here today. Lots of persons have been wondering who would get what. It has been the talk of the town ever since the election was completed. Persons are looking at the A team, as they were called, and already giving them their own portfolios because of the work they did before the elections and leading up to the elections.
Well, of course, we heard the Prime Minister, Dr. Drew, who sort of hinted at some of the portfolios. So everyone is looking forward this afternoon to hearing what those portfolio assignments will be. He did hint that he would take the Ministry of Health. Of course, he's a medical doctor, and he did hint that the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley will be given the Ministry of Education. Of course, you know, Dr. Hanley has been an educator for many years and so on. He has also worked with the young people in the Ministry of Youth. CARICOM has indicated that the Prime Minister Drew will be given the lead portfolio in the quasi cabinet of HIV and AIDS, human resource, and health in that quasi cabinet for CARICOM.
We've just seen the arrival of a former senator in the past Dr. Denzel Douglas administration. That's Ricky Skerritt. He is here. He's just arrived as well. You see the Mr. Dwyer Astafan as well. He is here, of course, giving support to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And just to continue with some of the messages, Ian, we had one from the Premier of Montserrat, the Honorable Joseph Farrell. He extended his best wishes for a successful term in office to the new Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. He said, "The pleasure is mine to congratulate you and the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party on your decisive victory at the recent general elections. With your appointment as Prime Minister comes a new mantle of responsibility. I wish to assure you of the continued friendship and support of the government and people of Montserrat as you and your government work tirelessly for the progress and the prosperity of your people and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis." That's the message that came in from the Premier of Montserrat. And also to continue with the biography of the fourth Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. Dr. Drew studied for his United States medical license exam and passed, ranking among the exam's top performers. In 2010, Dr. Drew received a residency position in internal medicine in Texas, and although the process was long, challenging, and expensive, journeyed to the United States and began his studies. 3 years later, he fully completed his studies, and despite the many lucrative contracts offered to him, he decided to return home to contribute once again to his country. Dr. Drew is a fully trained internist and was eligible to be licensed in any state of the USA.
I should mention that the Prime Minister had a very eventful first day in office today. He would have touched on it a bit in terms of an interview that he did with one of the local media houses. And, one of the things that is very interesting that he said he was going to complete within the first week in office. And he said that he was going to speak about or help to deal with some of the matters in relation to the MRI machine at the Joseph and Franz General Hospital. He mentioned that he also was going to be looking at assistance to persons with sick children. That is, of course, very important, and it's something that is near and dear to his heart. He would have attended the candlelight vigil for Drea, a young child, unfortunately, who passed and given his support to the families there. And so, that is something that persons can look forward to hearing a bit about. And also the entry protocols for St. Kitts and Nevis. That is one of the things that the Prime Minister said that he was prepared to deal with in the first week of his term in office. And so we certainly expect to hear some of that, as he mentioned. Look forward to his speech on Saturday. And so the nation, I'm sure, will be waiting on bated breath to hear what the fourth Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Michael, has to say in these matters.
Well, during his swearing in at Government House, he gave some insight as to how he plans to govern. He said he vowed to serve on the principles of respect and good governance so that the St. Kitts and Nevis can be counted among others and one that we could very well be proud of. And he also said that he fully recognized that the office of the Prime Minister is one of service and that it is an office which he does not own, but that he's at the desk, he's at the behest of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And during that time, he vowed to work closely with his cabinet colleagues who we will see be given the official portfolios this afternoon, and with those who are in the positions in government and other citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, so that whatever issues they are, they can solve it working closely together as one federation.
The Prime Minister would have also indicated that he would have had discussions with the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, and also with the opposition leader of the Nevis Reformation Party to get a sense of starting to what the issues are and starting to really build out the relationship. Of course, this is his first time in public office, and so the Prime Minister indicated that he is looking forward to deepening the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis. And the best way to do that really is to understand what the issues are. He mentioned quite clearly that he is not just only the Prime Minister of St. Kitts as a natural, but it's St. Kitts and Nevis. He's the Prime Minister of Nevis as well. He respects the authority, the autonomy that the Nevis Island administration has, but he also intends to forge a relationship with the people themselves of St. Kitts and Nevis, because in order to serve effectively, you must be able to serve all of the people, not just St. Kitts, but also the people of Nevis, who are our brothers and sisters, and who is so near and dear to his heart, as he would have expressed.
In just a few weeks' time, Warner Park will be seeing a number of cricket matches once again in the CPL. There's the 60s tournament that will also be played here, men and women as well, the Chris Gale 60s tournament, which is a new format. But right now it's been prepared for the inauguration of the ministers of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party government. If you've just joined us, my name is Veer Galloway, along with Leswar Williams and Ian Richards, of course. We are here to bring you coverage of the swearing-in ceremony. Already, the stands are being filled. The sun is out. Very, very hot, I can tell you that, of course. Umbrellas are out as well. And the standout color right now is red. Even the umbrellas having some semblance of red as well as white.
Yes, yes. The Warner Park Cricket Stadium is a very picturesque stadium. I think it is perhaps I want to be biased and say it's the best stadium within the region, but it has already been handed over to Cricket West Indies. Of course, they're going to start cricket here on the 24th of August, Ian. The 24th of August. And they have something called the 60. The 60, and of course, we see Chris Gale has been marketing this. I think he's one of the brainchild behind it. And so, of course, the ceremony today, they took special care to mitigate any damage to the grounds and so on, because we know that cricket will be coming up in just a little under 2 weeks.
Well, I can tell you Lezoy, based on what you would have said in terms of it being a very picturesque ground. I was involved a bit in terms of providing some of the public relations when the park was being constructed. And the manager, Val Kempadu, said that this was actually the finest work that he has done in the region. And pound for pound, Warner Park is one of the top facilities in the Caribbean.
Of course, you can see the mountains, of course, on the outskirts of Warner Park. That makes it, of course, extremely beautiful just looking at the mountains.
And we are hearing the sirens of the outriders. So at any moment now, we should be seeing the arrival of the minister's designate, of course, and then the prime minister, followed by the governor general. And just to give you some stats from the elections gone past, Dr. Drew was declared the winner in constituency number 8, taking 2,950 votes, gathering 60.2% of the votes cast. Dr. Zenzil Douglas, a former prime minister, he won in constituency number 6 with 1,926 votes, compiling 82.2% of the votes cast. Connis Maynard was also announced the winner in constituency number 3 with 1,747 votes, amassing 64.8% of the votes cast. Marsha Henderson, the lone lady, won in constituency number 2 with 1,841 votes, picking up 57.3% of the votes cast. Dr. Jeffrey Hanley emerged victorious in constituency number 1 with 2,709 votes, totaling 57% of the votes cast. And the Samuel Duggins, he triumphed in constituency number 4 with 1,269 votes, accumulating 54.1% of the votes cast.
A very convincing win there for the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party. And, you know, not that we are looking back, of course, elections are over, but I recall and it became a bit of a running joke, you know, among the populace, where persons were, you know, anxious, a bit of acid reflux before the elections. Persons were worrying who was going to win. And I remember a character by the name of Jumbiai, who said, somebody's going to drop down, somebody's going to drop down. But,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
At the end of the day,
She predicted the outcome.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, you know, all went well. It was a very peaceful election that was noted by the observers from CARICOM and from the OAS who were here as well too. I do have some copies of the reports, and maybe we can get into some of that a bit later. But certainly we are proud of the peaceful transition of government. We are proud of the way the polls were conducted, and it was all done in the name of democracy. And it proves that our people are resilient, and democracy and the institutions in St. Kitts and Nevis are strong. They are alive and well here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I must mention too that the other 2 constituencies that were contested in St. Kitts were number 7 and 5 respectively, which were run by Dr. Timothy Harris, the former Prime Minister and leader of the People's Labour Party, Sean Richards, the leader of the People's Action Movement. Dr. Harris won his seat with 1,266 votes, 53.6% of the votes cast. And Mr. Richards of the People's Action Movement, he came out on top with 1,025 votes, with 48.7% of the votes cast.
And let me just take a bit across the waters there.
Yes.
Of course, there are persons who will form the legislators there, and there are names that are familiar to all of us in St. Kitts and Nevis. So we had the Constituency Movement winning all 3 of the federal seats that were contested there. Its leader, Mark Brantley, he won Constituency 9 with 1,685 votes, amassing 55% of the votes cast. Eric Evelyn, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, he emerged triumphant with 660 votes, which was a total of 69.8% of the votes cast. And then Alexis Jeffers rounds out the 3, where he contested Nevis 10, and he was able to finish with 1,172 votes, which is basically 50.1% of the votes that were cast.
We are now seeing a convoy, and I suppose they are escorting the minister's designate, who should be arriving on stage anytime soon. There is a convoy of about 8 to 9 cars just arrived in Warner Park. And if you've just joined us, we are bringing to you coverage of the inauguration ceremony, or the swearing in of the members of cabinet here at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. And according to the program, it's just about 4 o'clock at this time, and we should be seeing the ministers designate taking up their position on stage. And you can hear the round of applause from the crowd here as the ministers designate, led by the senior minister, the Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas. They are just about to make their way here onto the stage where the swearing in will take place.
And already you can hear the shouts of persons for the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas on the big screen as well too. There he is walking the red carpet, persons giving him a very warm, I think warm might be a bit of an underestimation.
Yeah. I'm sure the spectators can hear the loud roar and the clap.
Absolutely, Prime Minister. Well, former Prime Minister Dr. Denzil Douglas remains a very popular figure in St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course in the region as well too, having served as the nation's Prime Minister for some 20 years.
And he's about to take to the stage. He is the...
Yes, and the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas would be the most experienced politician within the Dr. Drew administration, having served as Prime Minister for about 2 decades.
We see now Dr. Jeffrey Hanley emerging from the vehicle and walking the red carpet there. He's looking very dapper today. Of course, he's a very well-dressed person.
And he's accompanied by his wife, of course, dressed in red. Some nice music being played in the background. And just to let you know that the former Prime Minister, Dr. Denzil Douglas, the longest serving Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, he was in office from 1995 up until 2015. And subsequently, he was the leader of the opposition. He is now back in government in the Dr. Torrance Drew-led St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration.
We see another vehicle pull up here there, and we're waiting to see who the person is. Congress Maynard is the Honorable Congress Maynard, who was elected to the constituency number 3 as a representative. He is accompanied by his wife, and when I see
his daughter is
the daughter, yes. Right, I'm looking at the screen now. The Honorable Congress Maynard. Oh,
yes, his wife. Yeah.
So his 2 lovely daughters are also here with him, and they are walking the red carpet, preparing to take their seats here at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. We continue live coverage of the swearing-in ceremony for the ministers of government.
If you've just joined us, you are looking at and listening to the coverage of the swearing-in ceremony. One of the youngest members of the A-team, as they were referred to, Samuel Duggins. And he's accompanied by his wife, making his way on the red carpet
He is actually, in fact, the youngest member of the team. He was only 39 years old. He was born in 1984. And of course, Simon is known mostly by the young people for his entertainment. He used to be a part of a band called The Embassy. And then he has grown and gotten into agriculture.
Yes.
Manchester farms on that old road. And certainly he's become very popular for that as well.
Yes, and the Honorable Samuel Duggins has in some ways has to be commended because he won all 10 boxes in constituency number 4, where the former parliamentarian who won all 10 boxes in 2010, he lost all 10 boxes in 2022.
You see arriving now the elected representative for constituency number 2, the Honorable Marshall Henderson. Now, Marshall, of course, is a lawyer by profession, and so persons are looking forward to getting what her portfolio is behind. She did a recent interview with The Narrative, which is a regional show that also airs on ZXZ, and she said she's up to the task. Whatever the Prime Minister is prepared for her to do, she's prepared to lead in that area. But the Prime Minister did indicate that the Attorney General is likely to be an appointed post, a senator appointed. And so we'll have to look forward and wait and see which post the Honorable Marshall Henderson will take up. We'll find out in just a matter of maybe half an hour, maybe an hour bit.
We continue to see the arrival of the ministers designate. We are now seeing Dr. Joy Clark out of St. Paul's, accompanied by her mom and dad, of course, her entire family.
And Dr. Clark, of course, was a senator within the previous parliament.
Yes.
Right. And so there, we expect the ovation to get even louder, the applause to be thunderous as we await the arrival of the 4th Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Michael Drew, who of course was elected in the constituency number 8. And just beyond the horizon, I see the vehicle beginning to roll in, and so well, you can see it on the big screen now that it's the rider at the front, and so we expect very shortly the Honorable Prime Minister to step onto the red carpet.
And as we mentioned earlier, the St. Kitts Nevis Different Source Band, they will be making some renditions as well. Right now, we're going to be seeing the arrival of the 4th Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. He should be the next person to arrive, followed by the Governor General, of course. And at this moment, we are seeing the convoy of vehicles already in Warner Park. They'll be taking up their positions by the red carpet at any moment now.
We'll have to draw closer to the start. I think that's why be a good time to run through the rest of the program. So after the arrival of the ministers designate and the Prime Minister, there will be the national anthem performed by Nicholas Petty, and then welcome remarks by Mrs. Adelcia Connor Furlands. You would remember Adelcia, she worked at ZXZ for some time. And then we would have the invocation by the Venerable Isaiah Philip, the Archdeacon Central for Archdeaconry of St. Kitts and Nevis, And then, of course, the swearing in of the cabinet. That is what most persons, of course, are looking forward to, all excited to hear what the portfolios are going to be. And then the address by the Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence True. We're going to have a choral rendition entitled Total Praise by the National Choir, and that will be followed by the benediction. And of course, persons will seek the opportunity there to run and have their pictures taken with the new minister at that time.
And speaking about pictures, the press is out in their numbers today. And they are capturing the moment for posterity, of course. This is a big occasion. And right now, on the big screen, we are seeing the arrival of, is that Leslie? We're not too certain as yet, but diplomats and delegates and many persons continue to arrive here.
The Prime Minister is expected to make some significant announcements today in his address, and so we await those very significant announcements.
And now we are seeing Kenneth Douglas out of Sandy Point. He ran on the SKNLP ticket. He was not successful, but he's here in support of the entire team.
Most persons there would have described his showing ads in constituency fights during the recent election. That's very commendable. It was a very commendable one indeed. And there are persons who are very excited to see what role he may be able to lead in the constituency in the weeks and the months and the years to come.
And just arriving before His Excellency Kenny Douglas, was Mr. Garth Wilkin and his wife.
We are bringing you a live coverage of the ceremony of the swearing in of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, the new government that will be comprised of 6 elected members of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party who emerged victorious during the recent poll on August 5, 2022.
And we continue to see a number of persons coming into the Warner Park Cricket Stadium.
So the persons that we are currently seeing there would be Mr. Edmund Lawrence, His Excellency Edmund Lawrence, former Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, and his wife, Mrs. Lawrence. She is someone who has contributed quite a bit to the national landscape of St. Kitts and Nevis, particularly in music. Of course, everyone knows about her famous school, I believe, her expertise in piano. And so, Mrs. Lawrence is someone who is well known. You see the outrider pulling up on the state car, and very shortly we expect to see emerging the fourth Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew. Here comes the Commissioner of Police, Ilwai Brandy. And there he is, you can hear the ovation.
Here is the fourth Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew. He is now making his way onto the red carpet, accompanied by the Commissioner of Police.
And he would say here that some persons would have left their seats to go very close to where the Prime Minister is walking so that they can get a close-up glimpse of the Prime Minister. Of course, he himself is a very charismatic young man. He is someone who is well known from the medical profession and also his community involvement in the community, the constituency number 8, and also within the national development as a whole.
He's making his way onto the stage, and we should be seeing the arrival now of the Governor General, after which the swearing-in ceremony will get on its way. The stands are filled right here at the Warner Park Stadium. The dominant color, red of course, it is expected. It is the dominant color also down in the crowd as well.
And I have to commend the persons there who are braving the hot sun.
Yes, and it's very, very hot, I can tell you that.
Yes, in the front rows of Warner Park Cricket Stadium. Mostly when you see cricket played, persons are further back to try to get the shelter, but persons are here in the sun and anticipating the moments that we're about to see unfold.
It is indeed hot, but overcast. So I think we might get a little rain. I hope not, but it is overcast at the moment. We are now expecting the arrival of we have just had the arrival of Mr. Leon Natter, who contested the election in constituency number 7, and who did, I must say, quite remarkable, but he did not win in that constituency.
Mr. Natter is accompanied by his family, of course. And he actually put up a good showing in the elections gone by. And his supporters are now waving and shouting, welcoming him to this ceremony.
Again, someone, Mr. Natter who is expected to be prominently featured in the coming weeks and months as he continues to further his work in national development, contributing to the development of persons within St. Kitts and Nevis. Certainly another rising star, so to speak, that persons should keep their eye on here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Well, persons, of course, will be now looking to see or to hear the various portfolios that would be given out here this afternoon. If you have just joined us, we are bringing to you live coverage of the swearing-in ceremony here at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. A number of officials have already been seated. We have already seen the arrival of the minister designate. They all have arrived. The fourth Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, he is already seated. We are awaiting the arrival of the Governor General.
Of course, when the Governor General, His Excellency Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton arrives, then the ceremony will
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as we welcome Your Excellency Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, GCMG, CVO, QC, JP, LLD, Governor General of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and remain standing for the singing of a national anthem. O land of beauty, our country, their peace abound, thy children stand free. On the strength of will and love, with God in all our struggles, St. Kitts and Nevis be a nation bound together with a common destiny. At stalwarts we stand for justice and liberty, with wisdom and truth. We will serve and honor thee. No sword nor spear can conquer, for God we sure defend. His blessing shall forever to posterity extend. Please be seated. A pleasant afternoon to each and every one of you. My name is Delcia Conifer-Lance, and I'm your Mistress of Ceremonies today. It is indeed a great pleasure to be granted this opportunity to greet and extend a celebratory welcome to you on this auspicious occasion, the official inauguration ceremony for the new Cabinet of Ministers for the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is an honor to be given this task as we embrace the beginning of a new chapter for our Twin Island Federation. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests, Your Excellency Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, GCMG, CVO, QC, JP, LLD, Governor General of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Your Lordship, the Honorable Justice Trevor M. Ward, QC, the Honorable Dr. Terence Michael Drew, Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Honorable Philip J. Peer, Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Dr. the Most Honorable Jerome Xavier Walcott, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, and Senior Minister coordinating social and environmental policy in Barbados. The Right Honorable Dr. Denzil L. Douglas, former Prime Minister and elected representative for St. Christopher VI. Honorable Dr. Michael Brown of Antigua and Barbuda. Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, elected representative for St. Christopher I and Mrs. Hanley. Ms. Marsha Henderson, elected representative for St. Christopher II, Mr. Conris Maynard, elected representative for St. Christopher III and Mrs. Maynard, Mr. Samuel Duggins, elected representative for St. Christopher IV and Mrs. Duggins, Mrs. Josephine Huggins, Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Farrell Smithen, President of the Nevis Island Assembly, the Honorable Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis and Mrs. Brantley, other honorable ministers of the Nevis Island Assembly and their spouses, Your Excellency Sir Edmund Lawrence, CMG, OBE, CSM, JP, former Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, and Lady Lawrence. Your Excellency Michael Lin, Ambassador of the Republic of China and Taiwan, and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps. Your Excellency David Rivero Perez and Mrs. Yvonne Tomei-Flea. Your Excellency Linda S. Taglialatilla, Ambassador of the United States of America and delegation. Mr. Marco Antonio Guzman Adrian, Chargé d'Affaires ad hoc of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and spouse. Mr. Didakos Jules, Director General of the OECS. Other accredited chief representatives of regional and international organizations, visiting representatives from Venezuela and the United Kingdom, other members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, the Venerable Isaiah Philip, Archdeacon Central, Archdeaconry, St. Kitts and Nevis, and other participants of this auspicious event, members of the Christian Council and the Evangelical Association, other members of the clergy, permanent secretaries and other senior government officials, Lieutenant Colonel J. Anthony Comrie, Commander of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force, Mr. Hilroy Brantley, QPM, Commissioner of Police, and other members of the High Command and other rank and file members of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, Mr. Terence James, Commissioner of Prisons and Corrections, Mr. Garfield Hodge, Acting Fire Chief of the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services, other members of the armed forces and uniformed bodies, former members of Parliament, family members of the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, and other elected representatives, Planning Committee members of the inauguration ceremony, partners, executives, and members of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and the St. Kitts Nevis Trades and Labour Union, members of civil society, other specially invited guests, members of the diaspora, and listeners on various media platforms, citizens and residents, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. With God in all our struggles, St. Kitts and Nevis be a nation bound together with a common destiny. Those are powerful words of inspiration taken from our beautiful and soulful national anthem. These are words to aspire to as the new St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration take this bold step of service to our people. We are one people, a proud people, with one purpose, to build our beloved nation. Today we are gathered with a renewed confidence in our democratic process. We are here to witness the inauguration of these dedicated and patriotic men and women who have taken the plunge to service. Let us continually bear them up in prayer throughout this journey. In due time, they will swear oath, and the instruments of appointments to office will be bestowed to them. This is a powerful commitment to us, the citizens and residents of the Twin Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, that they will govern and lead with integrity, transparency, and accountability for the betterment of our nation, for the good that they can do. This is an honor bestowed upon them to fulfill their mandate and to transform our nation, empower our people, and restore good governance. Ladies and gentlemen, I once again officially welcome you to this grand occasion, the inauguration of the leaders of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party to the office of government. Thank you, and God's richest blessings to you. At this point, we welcome the Venerable Isaiah Philip, Archdeacon Central, Archdeacon of St. Kitts and Nevis, to provide us with the invocation.
Fellow citizens and residents of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, and Madam Mistress of Ceremony, I thank you graciously welcoming me to share in this auspicious occasion. I am advised by the invitation that they sent to me that I am here as part of the leadership of the Christian community of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so permit me, before I get to the invocation and all other things, to extend some words of congratulations on behalf of the Christian community here in our federation. And first of all, I want to extend those congratulations to all the elected representatives of our House of Assembly, National Assembly. On behalf of my own boss, the bishop, the Anglican bishop of the Diocese of the Northeastern Caribbean and Aruba, the Right Reverend Ernest Alroy Fleming. And I also want to extend those congratulations on behalf of the chair of my own Christian council, Father Peter Poloski, and all members of that council over in Nevis, as well as our brothers in the ecumenical movement, to the president, Ron Daniel, and members of the Evangelical Association of Nevis. And in St. Kitts, on behalf of the interim chair, Reverend Mark Christmas, and the members of the St. Kitts Christian Council, as well as Pastor Leroy Matthew, who is the president of the Evangelical Association of St. Kitts. And brothers and sisters, we work in close relationships with our brothers and sisters in the Seventh-day Adventist community. And so on behalf of Pastor Adams and all his churches and members, he is the person who chairs the coordinating council of the Seventh-day Adventist churches here on St. Kitts. We want to extend our congratulations to all those who have been elected to the National Assembly, St. Christopher 1, right down to St. Christopher 8, go on to Nevis 9, 10, and 11. And brothers and sisters, you know who they are. And so we want, as we extend congratulations to you on your election, we want to assure you of the prayers of the leadership of the Christian community, that you would serve in our National Assembly with devotion and dedication and with selfless service to God and to all the residents and citizens of our beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And may God bless you in your service. And brothers and sisters, now to the invocation itself and all that comes before it and all that comes within it. I want to first of all read to you two verses of scripture from Judges chapter 16, verses 4 and 5. And this scripture comes from what we call in the Anglican Church that I pastor in, from our daily office readings. We have readings for each day of the year. And the Old Testament reading for today is Judges 16. And I share with you verses 4 and 5. It says that after this, Samson fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. The lords of the Philistines came to her and said to her, coax him and find out what makes his strength so great and how we may overpower him so that we may bind him in order to subdue him. And we will each give you 1,100 pieces of silver. The word of the Lord, and may God bless it to our hearts. Brothers and sisters, as we pray for God's blessings and guidance on this time of what I call a time of thanksgiving and affirmation. Thanksgiving to God for having taken us through our electoral process, and affirmation for God's guidance and direction on our Prime Minister and his incoming cabinet. I want them that this particular passage, which introduces the beginning of the downfall of Samson, was very special. It's very instructive because it tells us that that process started whom he loved. And I know that you all love what you do, and you love the people of the Federation and everything. But I want to say to you, keep very focused, because if you love the office and the power and the authority and all that it gives you in terms of the availability of the resources of the country, you're going to end up in a very destructive way. Just as Samson, through his love, ended up in destruction. And so I want to say to all of you, keep very focused in what you're doing. And what should focus your attention is really the will and the desire of the electorate. And the electorate in this country, they have overwhelmingly elected you with a powerful mandate that says we want change. That's what that mandate says. And so you must keep focused on delivering change. And that delivery of change, I want to say to you, brothers and sisters, that that delivery of change, it is not going to come out of an ordinary and everyday mindset. It has to come out of a mindset that is prepared to think and move out of the box. And I want to say to you this afternoon that one of the things that has happened in our beloved Federation is, deliberately or otherwise, there has been a systematic dismantling of the role and involvement of civil society organizations in the work and operation of our federation. And the very same people who do this dismantling, they call upon us all the time. What the church doing, what the Christian Council doing, what the Evangelical Association doing. But there has been a systematic dismantling of those engagement with and involvement with those in the governance of our country. And I want to say to you, Mr. Prime Minister, and Dr. Drew is my Prime Minister a lot more than other people. We came from the same place in St. Kitts, right up under the hill in Monkey Hill. And so, brothers and sisters, I want to say to my Prime Minister and to members of his incoming cabinet, don't be afraid to engage with civil society organizations and associations. They are going to strengthen our democratic process. They are going to widen the pool of ideas that you have to draw from. and that can only strengthen your policies and programs. And so I want to say to you, engage the Christian Council Evangelical Association, the Bar Association, the Chamber, the Engineers Association, all of those, and help us to build out and strengthen our democratic process and bring wider opinions and views into guiding and helping to shape the policies and programs of our federation. That is the way we are going to do it. And remember, when we talk about out-of-the-box thinking, still one of the greatest and most revolutionary changes that this country, St. Kitts Nevis, has experienced took place over 40 years ago, when as part of the Bratcher's administration, the late Clarence Fitzroy Bryan universalized second education. And that is still one of the most far-reaching changes. He moved out of the box. And I want to say to you, move out of the box. A lot of your supporters going to come, but maybe the time is right to move out of the box and don't give them a job and create a job for them, but create the opportunity for them to become entrepreneurs so that they themselves may create jobs too. And brothers and sisters, I've spoken far too long. So I'm going to shut up now and go to the prayers. So please stand, brothers and sisters, and let us pray. And as we pray this afternoon, we want to go to our God as the God of grace and glory, the God of love and goodness. We praise you, Heavenly Father, and we thank you for your presence with your guidance and direction upon our federation. We thank you graciously for taking us safely and peacefully through our recent campaigning and election for members of the Federal Parliament, our National Assembly. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for the contributions of all who have been involved in the process. The voters, the political parties and candidates, the supervisor of elections, returning officers, presiding officers, polls clerk, political party agents, and all those who have been involved in any way. Thank you also for the media and for our observers, both local, regional, and hemispheric, who came to be part of that process and to support us as we continue to exercise our rights in a democratic society. And today we want to offer special thanks for those whom it has pleased you to call to office as elected representatives. Lord, guide and direct them. We offer you our very special thanks for our Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, who in your wisdom you have called at this time to lead the government. Lord, fill him with wisdom, knowledge, attentiveness, and humility. We thank you, good Lord, for this day of thanksgiving and affirmation. And as we meet as a nation to give you thanks and praise, and to affirm and commend to you those whom you have directed Dr. Drew to call into his cabinet, we invoke and invite your presence, your guidance and inspiration on our Governor General, on the Prime Minister, our resident judge, today's chairperson, the choir, music director, musicians, as well as all others who would be playing any role in this event of thanksgiving and affirmation. Lord, come among us now and take control. Go before us in all our doings, so that by your help we shall all act to the honor and glory of your name and for the continued growth and development of our federation. We ask all these mercies through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who taught us when we pray to say, let us join together and pray the Lord's Prayer, saying, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. Amen. May God bless us in all our proceedings.
Thank you, Archdeacon Philip. We'll now have the swearing in of the Cabinet of Ministers. And we'll begin with the Honorable Dr. Terence Michael Drew, Esquire, Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, responsible for the Office of the Prime Minister, Finance, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of National Security, Citizenship and Immigration, Ministry of Health and Social Security.
Administer the oath of allegiance. I, Dr. Terence Michael Drew,
I, Dr. Terence Michael Drew,
do swear
that
I will faithfully bear true allegiance
I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors,
her heirs and successors,
according to law.
according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of office. I, Dr. Terence Michael Drew,
I, Dr. Terence Michael Drew,
do swear
do swear
that I will honor,
that I will honor,
uphold, and preserve
the
Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
and the law.
and the law.
That I will conscientiously,
impartially,
and to the best of my ability, discharge my duties as Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
discharge my duties as the Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
So help me God.
And the oath of secrecy. I, Dr. Terence Michael Drew,
I, Dr. Terence Michael Drew,
do swear
that
I will not on any account,
at any time whatsoever,
disclose any counsel, advice, opinion, or vote given by any minister of the cabinet, and that I will not, except with the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required, for the proper conduct of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis, directly or indirectly
directly or indirectly reveal
the business or proceedings of the Cabinet
the business or proceedings of the Cabinet
or any matter coming to my knowledge
or any matter coming to my knowledge
as a member of the Cabinet.
as a member of the Cabinet.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up once again for Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Terence Drew.
We are now bringing to you the swearing in of the minister designate. We've just seen the fourth Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. He just took the oath of office. Right now, he is signing the necessary documents. In the meantime, the crowd is waiting with anticipation for the other ministers and the other portfolios to be made known. Leslie, what do you think about the ceremony thus far?
I think that the ceremony there is going well. Of course, the jubilation of the people is extraordinary. And I think it reflects the large mandate that the government has been given.
We also had a powerful speech by the Reverend Isaiah Philip, who challenged the new ministers to serve with dignity.
Doctor, to take his oath, Dr. Jeffrey Ian Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister of the Island of St. Christopher and Minister of Education, Youth, Social Development, Gender Affairs, Aging, and disabilities.
Hanley? Oh, you have it. Right. Okay. You just raise your hand. Oh, one second. I, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley,
I, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley,
do sincerely, truly declare and affirm
that
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors,
her heirs and successors,
according to law.
according to law.
I, Dr. Jeffrey Ian Hanley,
I, Dr. Jeffrey Ian Hanley,
do sincerely and solemnly affirm
do sincerely and solemnly affirm
that I will honor,
that I will honor,
uphold,
uphold,
and preserve
and preserve
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
and the law,
and the law,
that I will conscientiously,
that I will conscientiously,
impartially,
impartially,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
discharge my duties as Deputy Prime Minister of
discharge my duties as Deputy Prime Minister of the Federation
of St.
of
Christopher,
St. Christopher and Nevis,
and do right to all manner of people,
and do right to all manner of people
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
affection or ill will.
affection or ill will.
One moment. I, Dr. Jeffrey Ian Hanley,
I, Dr. Jeffrey Ian Hanley,
do sincerely, truly declare and affirm that I will not on any account,
that I will not on any account,
at any time whatsoever,
at any time whatsoever,
disclose any counsel, advice, opinion, or vote given by any minister of the cabinet, and that I will not, except with the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required for the proper conduct of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis, directly or indirectly, reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet, or any matter coming to my knowledge as a member of the cabinet. Thank you, Lord.
The Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley just gave his oath of allegiance. He is now signing the necessary documents to complete the entire process.
And of course, there he was named as the new Deputy Prime Minister for St. Kitts and Nevis. It's supposed that I think some persons had an inkling that he was going to be Deputy Prime Minister, given that he was, of course, in the last Parliament. And so Dr. Hanley is going to be a lot more prominently featured across countries. Of course, St. Kitts and Nevis, persons in the country, they know of Dr. Hanley very well. And so he will be able to continue his work, particularly with the young people. I work very closely with the Ministry of Youth, and while he was there, we collaborated on quite a number of projects. And so it will be certainly interesting to continue to collaborate with him. And he is a new Minister of Youth, and of course, New ministries were mentioned, specific focus on persons with disabilities and also persons within the Ministry of Aging, persons, senior citizens of our country, those who would have made so many contributions to the development of St. Kitts and Nevis. Specific emphasis being placed on them by having aging included as part of the ministry.
Quite a popular figure in St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course, further afield, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister. And if you've just joined us, we are bringing to you the swearing-in ceremony of the new St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party government, led by the 4th Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. And Leslie, if I could bring you here a bit, what are your thoughts about Reverend Isaiah Phillips' presentation?
Well, Reverend Isaiah, I think, was all fired up. He did mention that the Prime Minister and himself actually came from the same community, so he knew him very well and was quite excited about his ascension to the office of the Prime Minister. Of course,
Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas to the Minister of Government of St. Christopher and Nevis, responsibility for foreign affairs, economic development, international trade, investment, industry, and commerce.
I will now administer the oath of allegiance. I, Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas,
I, Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas,
do swear that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to
Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors, according to law.
According to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of office. I, Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas,
I, Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas,
do swear that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
the
Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis,
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis,
and the law.
That I will conscientiously, impartially, and
to the best of my ability, discharge my duties as Minister in the Government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God. The oath of secrecy. I, Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, do swear that I will not on any account, at any time whatsoever, disclose any counsel, advice, opinion or vote given by any minister of the cabinet, and that I will not except with the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required, for the proper conduct of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis, directly or indirectly, reveal the business or proceedings of the Cabinet,
reveal the business or proceedings of the Cabinet,
or any matter coming to my knowledge
or any matter coming to my knowledge
as a member of the Cabinet.
as a member of the Cabinet.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
The Honorable Dr. the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas being named Minister of Foreign Affairs. Of course, he is well regarded throughout the region as a senior statesman, and it certainly is fitting as why I believe that Dr. Douglas hold the post of Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yes, Foreign Affairs, he's well known throughout the region and outside of the region, having served as the longest Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. He's also responsible for economic development, and of course, that's a very important ministry.
That's new.
That is new, which has to do really with how the revenue of the country is used in the development of the country. International trade, commerce, and also investment.
Let me use this opportunity also to just to correct a statement I made earlier in terms of Samuel Duggins being the youngest. He is the youngest member of the cabinet, as he will be sworn in shortly. But he actually is 38. My maths was bad. He was born in 1984. He actually is 38. He's younger than the nation. Younger than the nation.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And also Sir Edmund Lawrence. I refer to him as Mr. I apologize, and he is Sir Edmund Lawrence, former Governor General.
And Lady Lawrence.
Yes, and Lady Lawrence.
And Lady Lawrence. And then, of course, what we saw going before in terms of portfolio assignment, you had the Honorable the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley receiving the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth, the Ministry of Social Development, Gender Affairs, Aging and Disabilities. And then we had Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Terence Michael Drew. He received the Ministries of Finance, National Security, Citizenship and Immigration, Health and Social Security.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, Minister of Cabinet.
At this point, we'll call to take his oath Mr. Conris Gregor Menton Maynard, Minister of Government of St. Christopher and Nevis, Minister of Public Infrastructure and Utilities, Minister of Transport, in the Ministry of Information, Communication, and Technologies and Posts.
Now administer the oath of allegiance. I, Conris Gregor Menton Maynard,
I, Conris Gregor Menton Maynard,
do swear
do swear
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors,
her heirs and successors,
according to law.
according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I will administer the oath of office. I, Conris Gregor Menton Maynard,
I, Conris Gregor Menton Maynard,
do swear
do swear
that I will honor,
that I will honor,
uphold, and preserve
uphold, and preserve
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
and the law,
and the law,
that I will conscientiously,
that I will conscientiously,
impartially,
impartially,
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as minister in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
as minister in the government of St. Christopher and in the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
and do right to all manner of people
and do right to all manner of people
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
affection or ill will.
affection or ill will.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of secrecy. I, Conris Gregor Menton Maynard,
I, Conris Gregor Menton Maynard,
do swear
do swear
that I will not on any account,
that I will not on any account,
at any time whatsoever,
at any time whatsoever,
disclose any counsel,
disclose any counsel,
advice,
advice,
opinion, or vote
opinion, or vote
given by any minister of the cabinet,
given by any minister of the cabinet,
and that I will not,
and that I will not,
except with the authority of the cabinet,
except with the authority of the cabinet,
and to such extent as may be required,
and to such extent as may be required,
for the proper conduct of the government
for the proper conduct of the government
of St. Christopher and Nevis,
of St. Christopher and Nevis,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet,
reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet,
or any matter coming to my knowledge
or any matter coming to my knowledge
as a member of the cabinet.
as a member of the cabinet.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, sir.
Host. The Honorable Conris Maynard is a well-known calypsonian in St. Kitts and Nevis, and he has dominated the calypso arena for many years.
As we spoke about the Honorable Samuel Duggins being the youngest member to have been elected in this go-around, it's interesting that Conris Maynard, the Honorable Conris Maynard, was at the age of 32 years. He became the youngest parliamentarian serving in the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis when he was elected in 2015. So now he returns to Parliament, but this time he will have a seat in the cabinet. And so, that is something that many persons are looking forward to as he continues to raise the development of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it's interesting, public infrastructure. He's an engineer by profession, and so it's a natural fit for him, really.
Of course, when you listen to what the esteemed judge, the honorable judge, is saying, very, very serious words of, if you want to call them admonition, that whatever happens in cabinet is of confidence and should not be leaked from the cabinet. They take an oath of secrecy, and additionally, there is an oath swearing to treat all people in a favorable manner, that you would not treat others with ill will, and that the decisions that you make will be for the benefit or for the common good of all. That is extremely important.
And as we speak about his prowess in the field of calypso, it's noted here in his bio that he is a six-peat calypso monarch, 6 times winning the crown here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And some fun facts: his hometown is the village. He was educated. He has a BSc, a Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical and Computer Engineering that he would have received from the University of the West Indies. He also has a Master's of Engineering.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together again for Honorable Conris Maynard. At this point, we'll call to take his oath Mr. Samuel Moja Duggins, Minister of Government of St. Kitts and Nevis. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Marine Resources, the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, and the Ministry of a Creative Economy, the Ministry of Cooperatives.
I will now administer the oath of allegiance. I, Samuel Moja Duggins,
I, Samuel Moja Duggins,
do swear
do swear
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors,
her heirs and successors,
according to law.
according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of office. I, Samuel Moja Duggins,
I, Samuel Moja Duggins,
do swear
do swear
that I will honor,
that I will honor,
uphold,
uphold,
and preserve
and preserve
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
and the law.
and the law,
That I will conscientiously,
that I will conscientiously,
impartially,
impartially,
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my abilities
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as minister in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
as minister in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
and do right to all manner of people
and do right to all manner of people
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
affection or ill will.
affection or ill will.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of secrecy. I, Samuel Moja Duggins,
I, Samuel Moja Duggins,
do swear
do swear
that I will not on any account,
that I will not on any account,
at any time whatsoever,
at any time whatsoever,
disclose any counsel,
disclose any counsel,
advice, or opinion or vote
advice, opinion, or vote
given by any minister of the cabinet,
given by any minister of the cabinet,
and that I will not,
and that I will not,
except with the authority of the cabinet,
except with the authority of the cabinet,
and to such extent as may be required
and to such extent as may be required,
for the proper conduct of the government
for the proper conduct of the government
of St. Christopher and Nevis,
of St. Christopher and Nevis,
directly or indirectly
directly or indirectly,
reveal the business
reveal the business
or proceedings of the cabinet
or proceedings of the cabinet
or any matter
or any matter
coming to my knowledge
coming to my knowledge
as a member of the cabinet.
as a member of the cabinet.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much.
Agriculture, fisheries, marine resources, entrepreneurship, cooperatives, and the creative industry. The Honorable Duggins, of course, is a successful farmer, and Montreville Farms is well known in St. Kitts and Nevis, and that is his area. Additionally, Mr. Duggins is known for Island Expression. I know him a very long time when I used to be a part of Island Expression, where he allowed the creativity in people to come out through the recital of poems. And he held a number of those sessions of Island Expressions where people can come and express themselves in poetry. And so I think it is quite fitting that he has been given that ministry in terms of the creative industry. He has been involved in that a very long time.
And at Multiville Farms, of course, the Honorable Samuel Duggins, he would have used sustainable agrotechnology, which includes hydroponics, to grow the crops there. And it's interesting that he was recruited by the Ministry of Agriculture to serve as on its Agricultural Advisory Committee with a view to advancing the food and nutrition agenda in St. Kitts and Nevis. And in 2021, he was named the Man of the Year in the area of agriculture by the Ministry of Gender Affairs.
Samal has always been a very ambitious young man with very, very good intentions. And going into agriculture is not an easy thing. As we know, a lot of people do not want to get their hands dirty, but he has been able to create and to recreate. And so therefore, I think that this Ministry of the Creative Industry has been one that was fittingly chosen for the Honorable Samuel Duggins.
Samuel, the Honorable Samuel Moja Duggins, a proud national of St. Kitts Nevis, was born on November 13, 1984, to Michelle Duggins of Trafalgar Village and Samuel Moja Francis of McKnight. And he received his primary education from the Dr. William Connor Primary School and his secondary education from the Bright Star in the West, the Birchilds High School.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, as we applaud Honorable Samuel Duggins. We'll now call forward Ms. Marsha Tamika Henderson to take her oath as a Minister of Government of St. Kitts and Nevis in the Ministries of Tourism, Civil Aviation, and Urban Development.
Say after me. I, Marsha Tamika Henderson,
I, Marsha Tamika Henderson,
sincerely,
truly declare and affirm
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to
Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, according to law. Thank you. I, Marsha Tamika Henderson, sincerely, truly declare and affirm that I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis, and the law. that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my ability, discharge my duties as minister in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. I, Marsha Tamika Henderson, sincerely, truly declare and affirm that I will not on any account, at any time whatsoever, disclose any counsel, advice, opinion or vote given by any minister of the cabinet, and that I will not accept with the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required, for the proper conduct of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis, directly or indirectly reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet, or any matter coming to my knowledge, as a member of the cabinet. Thank you, sir.
Ministry, as that is the main industry of St. Kitts and Nevis. We know that over the past 2 years, 2.5 years, what has happened with the COVID-19 pandemic, with the tourism industry taking the full brunt of the pandemic and so on, and how that affected the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is now time of rebuilding the economy, rebuilding St. Kitts and Nevis, rebuilding the tourism industry. And so therefore, the Honorable Marsha Henderson will have a very challenging task, but nonetheless, an extremely important one. Civil aviation, of course, we know that that is also a part of the rebuilding, as that has to do with the number of flights that come into St. Kitts and Nevis, our airlift, and all of that is a part of our tourism and urban development, the development of our urban area, that is also very, very important. So all of these three ministries are linked. And one of the things that was very prominent in the manifesto of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party is that of the post-COVID reset, putting everything into context, that we are in a post-COVID world, and of course, we have to do everything to rebuild. We have to live with the fact that COVID is with us, and it has taught us many, many lessons.
And of course, Minister Henderson was elected to the federal parliament, and she will be leading the debates and contributing to debates as we go forward. And she would have gained her debating skills while she was in the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. She was part of the first batch of students to move into the new Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College up at Burden Street it is. And so that is where she would have honed her skills as a debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Marsha Tamika Henderson. At this point, we will call to take his oath Mr. Garth Lucian Wilkin, Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs.
I'll administer the oath of allegiance. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin,
I, Garth Lucian Wilkin,
do swear
do swear
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors,
her heirs and successors,
according to law.
according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of office. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin,
I, Garth Lucian Wilkin,
do swear
do swear
that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
and the law,
and the law,
that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my abilities,
discharge my duties as Senator in the National Assembly
discharge my duties as Senator in the National Assembly,
and do right to all manner of people
and do right to all manner of people
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
affection or ill will.
affection or ill will.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of secrecy. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin,
I, Garth Lucian Wilkin,
do swear
do swear
that I will not on any account,
that I will not on any account,
at any time whatsoever,
at any time whatsoever,
disclose any counsel,
disclose any counsel,
advice, opinion, or vote
advice, opinion, or vote
given by any minister of the cabinet,
given by any minister of the cabinet,
and that I will not,
except
with the authority of the cabinet,
except with the authority of the cabinet,
and to such extent as may be required,
and to such extent as may be required,
for the proper conduct of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis,
for the proper conduct of the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
directly or indirectly, reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet,
reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet,
or any matter coming to my knowledge,
as
a member of the cabinet.
as a member of the cabinet.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The Honorable Garth Wilkin, the successor of the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr., who was the Attorney General in the last administration. The Honorable Garth Wilkin will hold the portfolios of Attorney General, Minister of Justice, and Legal Affairs. He is the son of a well-known lawyer here in the Federation, Charles Wilkin, Queen's Counsel, QC, and he's also a partner in the law firm of Kelsick, Wilkin, and Ferdinand. The Attorney General, of course, is the top lawyer for the government and who holds the responsibility of representing the government in all litigation cases. The Attorney General also has the responsibility to advise the government in all matters, in all legal matters and justice matters. So the Attorney General holds an extremely important role in any cabinet.
And of course, Mr. Wilkin, the Honorable Wilkin, will be expected to take up the post as Senator when the Parliament is convene. The Constitution says it's 90 days after an election when the Parliament has to be convened, and so he will have a contribution to make there. But here's an interesting fact as well. Garth has a degree, a Bachelor's of Science degree in civil engineering, cum laude, that he received from the Virginia Tech in the United States, and also an LLB honors from the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill. And he has an LEC from the Norman Manley Law School, where he graduated as a member of the Principal's Roll of Honor. During his first 3 years of practice in St. Kitts and Nevis, he was acting as the Crown Counsel prosecutor in the High Courts of St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla, according to his profile here.
Important to note also is that the Honorable Garth Wilkin was the president of the Bar Association, and so he would have had to recently resign in order to take up this post as Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs.
Do swear that I will faithfully bear allegiance.
That I will faithfully bear true allegiance.
To Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
To Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Her heirs and successors.
Her heirs and successors.
According to law.
According to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of office as Attorney General. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin.
I, Garth Lucian Wilkin.
Do swear.
Do swear.
That I will honor, uphold, and preserve.
That I will honor, uphold, and preserve.
The Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis.
The Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis.
And the law.
And the law.
That I will conscientiously.
That I will conscientiously.
Impartially.
Impartially.
And to the best of my ability.
And to the best of my ability.
Discharge my duties as Attorney General.
Discharge my duties as Attorney General.
In the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis.
In the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis.
And do right to all manner of people.
And do right to all manner of people.
Without fear or favor.
Without fear or favor.
Affection or ill will.
Affection or ill will.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Garth Lucian Wilkin.
I, Garth Lucian Wilkin.
Do swear.
Do swear.
That I will honor, uphold, and preserve.
That I will honor, uphold, and preserve.
The Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis.
The Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis.
And the law.
And the law.
That I will conscientiously.
That I will conscientiously.
Impartially.
Impartially.
And to the best of my ability.
And to the best of my ability.
Discharge my duties.
Discharge my duties.
As Minister in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis.
As Minister in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis.
And do right to all manner of people.
And do right to all manner of people.
Without fear or favor.
Without fear or favor.
Affection or ill will.
Affection or ill will.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of secrecy. I, Garth Lucian Wilkin.
I, Garth Lucian Wilkin.
Do swear.
Do swear.
That I will not on any account.
That I will not on any account.
At any time whatsoever.
At any time whatsoever.
Disclose any counsel.
Disclose any counsel, advice.
Opinion or vote.
Opinion or vote.
Given by any minister of the cabinet.
Given by any minister of the cabinet.
And that I will not.
And that I will not.
Except with the authority of the cabinet.
Except with the authority of the cabinet.
And to such extent as may be required.
And to such extent as may be required.
For the proper conduct of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis.
For the proper conduct of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis.
Directly or indirectly reveal.
Directly or indirectly reveal.
The business or proceedings of the cabinet.
The business or proceedings of the cabinet.
Or any matter coming to my knowledge.
Or any matter coming to my knowledge.
As a member of the cabinet.
As a member of the cabinet.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much.
Of course, the position of Attorney General, Justice and Legal Affairs. It means that the Attorney General will have responsibilities, of course, for the court, the Magistrates Court, the High Court. He will be responsible, of course, for all matters legal that have to do with the government, the rule of law, the public administration of the law. And so anybody who sues the government, it is the Attorney General, of course, who comes into play here. His role of defending the government.
And that actually is in keeping with his expertise as a civil litigator. His area of expertise include general commercial litigation, banking, insurance, construction litigation and arbitration, injunctive relief litigation, employment law and environmental law. Well versed.
And our courts, of course, play a crucial role in the administration of justice. In a democratic society, of course, the rule of law is extremely important. And that means that people must be treated justly, people must be treated fairly, people must be treated with respect. Additionally, the Constitution comes into play. It is very important, and that people's rights in the Constitution must be respected. Of course, the Constitution, we have a written Constitution, and that is the highest law of the land. In Parliament, laws are made, and that is also extremely important to the functioning of the society in which we live. Of course, the laws are made, and when laws are made for the good of the people. No law should be made that should adversely affect the development of people. And of course, you know, with government, we have the 3 branches.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Million, our new Attorney General. At this point, we will call forward to take the oath as Minister of Government, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark. Ministry, who will be given the responsibility for the ministries of Sustainable Development, Environment and Climate Action, and Constituency Empowerment.
Good afternoon, Dr. Clark. I now administer the oath of allegiance. I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
do swear
do swear
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors,
her heirs and successors,
according to law.
according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of office. I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
do swear
do swear
that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
and the law.
and the law.
that I will conscientiously,
that I will conscientiously,
impartially, and to the best of my ability, discharge my duties as Senator in the National Assembly, and do right to all manner of people, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God. Thank you.
And we had it there, the Senator, Dr. the Honorable Joyelle Clark, the daughter of well-known Theo Clark, who is a senior sports officer working at ZIZ. He's a well-known sports commentator and hosts a sports show. Now, Dr. Clark, I am advised, has a doctorate in geography and is a teacher or was a teacher at the Keon High School. So therefore, it is not surprising that she would have such ministries as sustainable development, climate action, and the environment. She also has the portfolio of constituency empowerment.
And the University of the West Indies at Mona, Jamaica is particularly proud of Dr. Clark. They would have issued an article some time ago that mentioned that she obtained her PhD in geography in 2013 from the Department of Geography and Geology. And she was sworn in as a senator, of course, in St. Kitts and Nevis in 2015. Now, Dr. Clark is known in the region and in her home country as a strong stalwart, youth activist, and environmental advocate. And according to the article also posted here, it mentioned that
The oath of allegiance. I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
do swear that I will faithfully bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors,
according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And administer the oath of office as a minister. I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
do swear
do swear
that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
and the law.
and the law.
That I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my ability discharge my duties as minister in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
as minister in the government of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis,
and do right to all manner of people without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of secrecy. I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
I, Dr. Joyelle Trezier Clark,
do swear
do swear
that I will not on any account,
that I will not on any account,
at any time whatsoever, disclose any counsel, advice, opinion or vote given by any minister of the cabinet, and that I will not except with the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required, for the proper conduct of the government of St. Christopher and Nevis, directly or indirectly reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet, or any matter coming to my knowledge as a member of the cabinet. So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much. This way.
that would have been in August of 2020, becoming a senator with the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, which was in opposition at that time.
And you are watching and viewing the swearing-in ceremony of the new St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party cabinet here at Warner Park in St. Kitts, being shown across the region, locally on ZIZ TV, also on Flow TV, and it's also broadcast on ZIZ Radio. Up next on the program, we should be having our part of the program following the swearing in. We should be having an address by the fourth Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. And we've got some fine weather here right now. It was a bit overcast earlier, but as the evening winds down, it's getting a little cooler at this time. And just to run down the portfolios for you once again: Ministries of Finance, Office of the Prime Minister, National Security, Citizenship and Immigration, Health and Social Security, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew. Then we had the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Economic Development, International Trade, Investment, Industry and Commerce by the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas. There's also the Ministries of Public Infrastructure and Utilities, Transport, Information, Communication and Technology and Posts, the Honorable Conris Maynard. Agriculture, Fisheries, Marine Resources, Entrepreneurship, Cooperatives and Creative Economy, that goes to the Honorable Samuel Moja Duggins. Tourism, Civil Aviation and Urban Development, the Honorable Marsha Henderson. Attorney General, Justice and Legal Affairs went to Attorney General Garth Welkin. And we just had Senator, the Honorable Joyelle Clark. She was given, you remember the ministries for Joyelle?
Yeah, so it was the ministries for the Honorable Joyelle Clark. She had the Ministry of Climate Action, Sustainable Development, the Environment, and Constituency Empowerment.
The Honorable Dr. Joyelle Clark. I will now call forward Ms. Iseline Felicity Ciara Phillip to be a senator in the National Assembly.
I'll administer the oath of allegiance. I, Iseline Felicity Kira Phillip, do swear
I, Iseline Felicity Kira Phillip, do swear
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II,
her heirs and successors,
her heirs and successors,
according to law.
according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The oath of office. I, Iseline Felicity Kira Phillip,
I, Iseline Felicity Kira Phillip,
do swear
do swear
that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
that I will honor, uphold, and preserve
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis
and the law,
and the law,
that I will conscientiously,
that I will conscientiously,
impartially,
impartially,
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as Senator in the National Assembly
as Senator in the National Assembly
and do right to all manner of people
and do right to all manner of people
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
affection or ill will.
affection or ill will.
So help me God.
So help me God.
That's why the Prime Minister did promise that there would be youth representation within the decision-making bodies of government, and certainly here is another young lady who is prepared to make her mark and to contribute to St. Kitts and Nevis on the national development level.
Yes, of course, our young people should always be exposed and they should be given every opportunity for development.
You recently would have engaged with her on the...
Yes, I engaged with her on the panel on election night, and I must say she's quite bright and very insightful with the comments that she made. She also seems to be, well, from what I gathered, very, very objective. And that is necessary. We need people who are objective.
And one of the things that I also recognized while she served on that panel as well was the calm demeanor that she displayed as she discussed the issues. And there was a bit of a back and forth between the panel, discussing the issues of the night. But she seemed to be very calm and level-headed as she presented her points.
Yes, Ian, that's a very correct assessment. Of course, with government, we have the three arms of government. We have the executive, we have the judiciary, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature.
The Honorable
Iselin Phillip. Let's give another rousing round of applause for our members of cabinet in the government of St. Christopher and Nevis. And at this point, we will call our Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, to give his address.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good afternoon, comrades. Your Excellency, Sir Tapley Seaton, Governor General of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Your Lordship, the Honorable Justice Trevor M. Ward, QC. Let me recognize one who has become my friend in recent days, the newly elected Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Thank you for coming, sir. Dr. the Most Honorable Jerome Xavier Walcott, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and Senior Minister Coordinating Social and Environmental Policy of Barbados. Great to have you. Give my greetings to your Prime Minister. The Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, former Prime Minister and elected representative for constituency number 6. The Honorable Dr. Michael Brown of Antigua and Barbuda. Dr. Brown and I started our journey together. Welcome. The Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, elected representative of constituency number 1, and Mrs. Hanley. Now the Honorable Miss Marsha Henderson, elected representative of constituency number 2. Now the Honorable Conris Maynard, elected representative for St. Christopher 3 and Mrs. Maynard. Now the Honorable Mr. Samuel Doggins, elected representative for constituency number 4 and Mrs. Doggins. Let me recognize now the Honorable Joel Clark, the Honorable Garth Wilkin, and the Honorable Aislinn Phillip. Put your hands together for them. Mrs. Josephine Huggins, Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Farrell Smitten, President of the Nevis Island Assembly, the Honorable Mark Brantley, the Premier of Nevis, and Mrs. Brantley, other honorable members of the Nevis Island Assembly and their spouses. I also want to recognize the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Perkins. Your Excellency, Sir Edmund Lawrence, former Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, and Lady Lawrence, Your Excellency Michael Lin, Ambassador of the Republic of China and Taiwan and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Your Excellency David Rivera Perez and Mrs. Ivan Tomeflis, Your Excellency Linda S. Taglia Latela, Ambassador of the United States of America and delegation, Mr. Marco Antonio Guzman Adrian, Charge d'Affaires à Rojo de la Bolivariana, República de Venezuela, y su esposa, Dr. Didacus Jules, Director General of the OECS, other accredited chief representatives of regional and international organizations, visiting representatives from Venezuela and the United Kingdom, other members of the Diplomatic Corps and Consular Corps. Let me also recognize the Venerable Isaiah Phillip, Archdeacon, members of the Christian Council and Evangelical Association, other members of clergy, permanent secretaries, and other senior government officials. Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Comrie, Commander of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force, Mr. Hilroy Brandy, QPM Commissioner of Police, and other members of the High Command and other rank and file members of the Royal St. Kitts and Nevis Police Force, Calm down, comrades. Mr. Terrence James, Commissioner of Prisons and Correction. Mr. Garfield Hodge, Acting Fire Chief of St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services. Other members of the armed forces and uniform bodies. Former members of Parliament, and I see immediately here the Honorable Cedric Liebert, the Honorable Ricky Skerritt, and I'm sure the Honorable Earl Aston Martin is here as well. And the Honorable Marcella Liebert, the Honorable Sam Conda, the Honorable Dwyer Astafel, and the Honorable Rupert Herbert as well. I am told the Honorable Constance Metcham is also here. I want to recognize my mother, Gerzel Mills, my father, Michael Heiliger. Thank you all for being here, and the rest of my family, and my one and only son, Terrence. Planning committee members of the inauguration ceremony, partners, executive, and members of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and the St. Kitts Nevis Trades and Labor Union, members of civil society, other specially invited guests, members of the diaspora, viewers and listeners via various media platforms, citizens and residents. But let me also recognize my specially invited guest, soon to be His Excellency Kenneth Douglas, his wife and family, and soon to be His Excellency Leon Natta Nelson and his family. Members of the media, citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. I am deeply honored to greet you as the 4th Prime Minister of our beloved Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis. I thank all of you sincerely for your presence here today. What a wonderful sight it is to see such a massive, beautiful sea of humanity and love, showing tremendous support for me and my cabinet. Thank you. Such was the magnitude of your support just 8 days ago, when you overwhelmingly voted for your Labour A team on Election Day. Your choice was clear, and your voice was loud. For a better economy and jobs, you chose the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. For better health care, housing, and social protection, you chose the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. For better education, sports, and entertainment, you chose the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. For a better environment and food security, you chose the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. For better government and governance, you chose the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. We campaigned on that platform. You listened. You examined us. You voted for us. We are ready to deliver on our promises. We are your humble and willing servants. The August 5th general elections are now behind us. Yes, analysis of results will continue. However, it is time for your government to get to work. There's much to be done to repair and restore our beloved federation. During my inaugural address on August 6, I gave the assurance that mine will be an office of service. The same ethos will apply to the newly sworn-in cabinet. Believe me when I tell you that the cabinet selection process was done carefully and systematically. Governance is serious business. Your government must be responsive, effective, and efficient because that is what you voted for. Fellow citizens and residents, you entrusted me with the leadership of the government. I, in turn, have confidence in my team. This election was not a popularity contest. Rather, I have to ensure that each ministry and each statutory corporation has ministers who are competent, empathetic, respectful, compassionate, accountable, and energetic. I believe we have such ministers. Give them tremendous applause once again. Fellow citizens and residents, you have heard the names of the cabinet members and their portfolios. I am grateful to them for accepting the portfolios that I would have assigned. They have accepted the call to service. Before God and you, the people, they have taken their oaths. It is now time to get to work to deliver results according to the agreed performance objectives and timelines. You are invited to hold us accountable for the good that we can and must do for you, the people. Let me assure you that your government is already working to improve your lives and livelihood. My first week was a hard working week. There is no time to rest as yet. But I would say during this week, I reflected on what I promised you during the first week once we were elected to office. I promised you 3 things, but I think I have delivered at least 4. For many months, well before the election campaign began, I challenged the former government continuously to end the travel restrictions placed on our people that no longer had any scientific or medical merit. It was clear these restrictions were being used to oppress and suppress the will of you, the people. Why should citizens of this country have to seek permission to enter the land of their birth? That was wrong. That is wrong. Therefore, I have instructed that forthwith all COVID-19 related health and travel restrictions be removed. Our country is open for business. Let's get on with the business of building this nation. On the campaign trail, I have often spoke of the hardships faced by parents who had children who were in dire need of advanced medical care that is not available here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Often these parents had to have multiple takeaway dinners, barbecues, seek help through social media campaigns, and take sponsorships around just to try to raise the much needed funds to take their sick child or children overseas. My heart aches, our heart aches for those parents who have lost their little ones, especially those who have recently passed away, and 2 of them have recently passed away. As a father and a medical doctor, and many of us here are parents, and 1 other medical doctor among us. We cannot bear to see parents and children suffer in this manner. Therefore, your government will ensure that it provides the financial assistance needed for any child who must seek special medical care overseas. It is clear, number 3, it is clear that healthcare in St. Kitts and Nevis needs a major overhaul. As your Minister of Health, I endeavor to ensure that healthcare is vastly improved for all of us, from patient care to nursing, from increasing supplies of prescription medication to more advanced equipment, from better wages for our healthcare workers to improved healthcare facilities. You deserve better, and your Labour-led government will provide better. Therefore, I have instructed that a brand new MRI machine be procured forthwith and our JNF hospital and be installed at the hospital within the coming weeks. You will no longer have to go to a biomedical center if that is your choice. I promised you those 3 things, but I'm going to go on to the 4th. My brothers and sisters, we also heard the cries of students whose parents could not afford to pay the cost for them to attend our Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. These hardships were primarily caused by the removal of funding and training programs like REACH, which was initiated by the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration back in 2014, but was discontinued by the former government. The education of our children is simply too valuable to be wasted. Or under your new Minister of Education, your new Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, and the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. We will invest more resources in our educational and training institutions so they can lead the charge in equipping our young students for the 21st century opportunities. Therefore, your Labour-led government will immediately provide free tuition for all students of the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College going forward. And those who have paid, you will be refunded. And pardon me for 1 minute to speak to our non-nationals who are here. I will say it in English and a little bit of it in Spanish. I want to say to those who are here living among us, paying social security and social levy, that your children too will be able to go to college. And in addition to that, I want to say that you'll also be entitled to the same cost that our citizens pay at the JNF hospital. It is unfair that they pay social levy, which is responsible for all these services and programs, and not offer it to them. Yo quiero decir a la gente que habla español que esos niños también podían ir al colegio sin pagar si ustedes están aquí pagando los impuestos también. Y para la gente que va al hospital JNF, que pagan la seguridad social, que tú también vas a poder pagar el mismo precio como nosotros, los ciudadanos aquí en St. Kitts y Nevis. Put your hands together for them as well. Fellow citizens and residents, your government is already working for you, and we pledge to continue working on your behalf each and every day for the next 5 years and beyond. You elected us to own and deliver clean energy, such as solar. We must do that. In the meantime, I am already engaged in meaningful talks to reduce the price of fuel as low as possible. The cost of fuel is too high. What about our economy and jobs? Ours is a services-based economy. The pandemic dealt us a heavy blow. We were able to keep going because of receipts from our CBI program. However, St. Kitts and Nevis cannot and must not put all of its eggs in the CBI basket and the tourism basket. Therefore, your government will work to restore the reputation of the CBI program. That is a top priority. Our team will seek to strengthen the tourism and hospitality sector to make it more resilient to external shocks. There will be meaningful investment in food production and small business creation. Serious farmers, fishers, and other entrepreneurs will be supported to the extent that is possible. During the election campaign, we saw firsthand how creative and innovative our young people are in the visual and performing arts. We saw the intelligent use of computer graphics and drone technology. Therefore, we give the assurance that the creative and ICT sectors are top priorities for your government. Citizens, even as we celebrate today, we have an enormous task ahead of our country to correct the wrongs that were committed in the past and to face challenges that tomorrow will bring, which are some of the greatest opportunities in history. A global climate crisis, the ongoing post-COVID recession, and their knock-on effects such as inflation. And even though these are challenges, they present us with opportunities to forge a new future. Even as we gather in this stadium, we know that all across the nation, there are single mothers who will lie awake after their children fall asleep tonight, wondering how they will continue to make ends meet. The taxi drivers, former factory workers, hospitality service providers, and many of our young people who have been unemployed for a long time. There are small and large businesses that are struggling under the weight of high energy bills and supply shortages. There's so much work to be done, but I give the assurance that over the next weeks, months, and years, this team, the A team, will work tirelessly to bring all the resources to state to bear in helping us all to achieve, of course, what we spoke about, a new day and a better way for our country, our nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The road ahead will be long. Our climb will be steep. But I give you my personal guarantee that we will get there. I pledge to you, we as a people will get there together. I also give you my personal guarantee and the guarantee of my team that we will always be honest with you about the challenges we face. I commit to keeping you informed through all available communication channels available to us. I will listen to you. We will listen to you, even when we disagree. And above all, I ask you to join in the work of reimagining and remaking this beautiful country that we all love so much. It is a call to service. So today, I am asking us all to dig deep within ourselves and to summon a spirit of renewed patriotism, service, and collective responsibility to resolve to work hard and to look out not just for ourselves, but to look out for each other. If the COVID-19 pandemic taught us anything, it taught us that we need each other. We rise or fall as one nation, as one people. Let us all work hard to resist the temptation of falling back into the divisiveness, selfishness, pettiness, and immaturity that poisoned our politics for so long. True and enduring progress can only come when we move from a state of independence to a dynamic interdependence. While St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party won a great victory at the polls, we recognize and acknowledge with a deep sense of humility that we did not do it all on our own, and we cannot transform our nation until we heal the divides that have held us back from progress for some time. And with that, I say to those voters whose support we have yet to earn, and to our Nivision brothers and sisters, and to our Nivision brothers and sisters who may not have casted their vote directly for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, I want you to know that I value your voices. I need your help, and I will also be your Prime Minister. Fellow citizens and residents, I therefore sincerely thank you for your support and your presence here today. This large crowd is a demonstration of the mandate that you have given us. Put your hands together for yourself. I ask you to keep this cabinet in your prayers, because as our national anthem says, with God in all of our struggles, and with all of us working together, and with all of us working together in St. Kitts and in Nevis, we shall not only survive, we shall thrive as a nation. We have a country to build. You ready to build? You ready? We have a country to build and a nation to mold. And I say to all of us, let's get to work. Thank you. God bless you. And may God bless the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Good evening. God bless.
Showers of blessings. Thank you to the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew.
Babies cry, I watch them grow, they learn much more than I will never know. And I think to myself,